Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here's part 2 of this. Another assumption they have is that the iron cores of evolved stars could form catastrophically, as in the iron catastrophe, and did not require vastly longer stretches of time provided by the geologists in their theories of Earth formation. I have written here, the purity and size of the iron-nickel cores of evolved stars, such as the Earth and Mars, Mercury, signals that they took many billions of years to collect their material and solidify. The evidence for the very high ratios of iron-nickel is via meteorites. The cores of stars take longer to form than their crusts, therefore the iron catastrophe is not a real event. The sequence is incorrect. Geologists have the core forming simultaneously as the crust. As well, the amount of time required to form the core is incorrect as mentioned earlier. The cores of stars form very slowly as they evolve, and core formation is a byproduct of stellar evolution itself, and all evolved stars contain iron-nickel cores. If the object does not have a fully developed, massive iron-nickel core, then it is not the remains of a single star, but the remains of a collision event between other objects. The development of iron-nickel cores thus belongs inside the philosophy of uniformitarianism, which is a very slow change or growth, and not catastrophism. Next, another assumption is that disks form spherical objects. Here I have written, a spherical object such as a star remains spherical as it evolves and shrinks due to gravity. This is why all evolved stars, which are called planets, are round. Disks do not become spherical unless the disk can lose its angular momentum. Since the protoplanetary disk theory nebula hypothesis does not have any mechanism for angular momentum loss, the theory loses credibility. As you know, they still keep the nebula hypothesis even though it's not credible at all, which is very strange. Number 15. The objects in the solar system are not independent of the sun. The whole volume of a star evolves, therefore their evolution is mostly independent of the relatively small surface area impacted by a hotter host. This means they are definitely mostly independent of the sun, except for their current orbits. Except, for the fact that they're orbiting the sun right now. Rocky metal surfaces are not subject to photoevaporation as are younger, more gaseous stars, so they are even more independent of the sun's features except for their thin, if existent, atmospheres, such as the Earth. For instance, the sun doesn't impact the core of the Earth. Number 16. Nothing can enter the solar system from another galaxy or from another star system entirely. There are no walls preventing objects from entering the solar system. It's a really strange thing to see astronomers say that objects can't enter the solar system, yet there's no walls there, it's vacuum. If the object has a great enough mass and momentum, it will enter freely. This means the Oort cloud is probably an unnecessary concept. As well, it means the objects found as meteorites probably came from outside the solar system entirely and have origins from some other place in the galaxy or another galaxy entirely. With this realization, it becomes obvious that our own solar system of objects was subject to capture by the sun, including the Earth and all the life that existed on it before the sun was even around. All the objects in the solar system are roughly the same age. This is a very horrible assumption that they made into dogma. This ignores the richness of other objects' evolutionary past. All the objects in the solar system are most definitely vastly different ages. For instance, Venus is roughly the same size as Earth, is comprised of rocks like the Earth, and no longer has a magnetic field. How do two very similar objects form at the same time, and one have volcanic activity, and the other is a lifeless world without any activity? Clearly, Venus is vastly older than the Earth and has almost completely solidified. Number 18. All the large objects in the solar system beside the sun do not evolve. Here I have written, All objects which produce heat evolve. As well, chemistry is evident, as the proposed heating is provided by synthesis reactions to form molecules, which are exothermic reactions, fueled via gravitational collapse, which is the Helmholtz-Kelvin mechanism, to overcome the activation energy requirement. The process of stellar evolution forms every naturally occurring chemical compound and molecule. As well, other types of exothermic events take place which allow the star to lose enthalpy, such as condensation, gas deposition, solidification, etc. Stars are fusion-powered. They cannot be hot for any other reason. Plasma recombination reionization fueled via gravitational collapse keeps young stars hot and luminous. As the gravitational field diminishes to mass loss, the feedback loop becomes interrupted and the plasma recombines into superheated gaseous matter, which then evolves into much more complex molecules to dissipate the leftover heat for many more billions of years. This means stars are hot and can remain hot as they evolve, with mechanisms completely absent, the concept of fusion, and can almost ignore radioactive material heating any matter. This is a complete reversal in the philosophy of stellar evolutionary planet formation processes, being strictly reliant on fusion radioactivity. Placing importance of fusion radioactive material was ill-suited. These concepts more than likely have no actual importance to the evolution of stars' planet formation. What is more appropriate to the reader is to realize the velocities and energies required for nuclear reactions occur in the jets emitted from active galaxies and pulsars, not stars. Stars are simply not energetic enough. They rest on dull photochemical, electrochemical, and thermochemical processes. 20. Earth has moving plates, which are the cause for mountain formation. Plate tectonics does not account for the Earth during earlier stages of evolution, while it was a vast gas giant, which was also very much younger and a hotter star. Therefore, mountain formation via plate tectonics alone is probably misguided. This should include the question, how exactly did the molecules, which make up the minerals, which make up the rocks, form to begin with? Plate tectonics does not answer these questions. 21. Dinosaurs existed as the Earth was orbiting the Sun. I have here written, Earth probably orbited many other stars in the past, including when the dinosaurs roamed the Earth. As well, the Earth had other smaller stars orbiting it when it was a very, very hot, star. I need to correct that. Hot, big, bright star. 22. Stars cannot cool and die, becoming what are called planets. I have here written, we can infer what happens to stars as they evolve by studying much older stars. These much older stars are called exoplanets and planets. They're sitting there right outside. We can study them with telescopes, and we're even standing on one. 23. Gravitational fields can exist absent matter causing the gravitation. Without matter, there are no gravitational fields. This means if there is no matter, there is no gravitational field. Sorry, black holes, you don't exist. 24. All stars came from a giant explosion called the Big Bang. I have here written, active galaxies eject young galaxies called quasars. No Big Bang is needed. The young stars form inside of the quasar as it creates matter in its interior. We can even see more evolved quasars called radio galaxies and galaxy jets, and they grow arms and become galaxies, just like a acorn grows roots and branches, just like, in nature. This assumption led astronomers to believe that they could classify stars based off this hypothetical event, not understanding at all what stars actually evolve into. Thus, their old stars shine. This is very strange reasoning and contradicts good judgment. The old stars do not shine anymore. They are too cold and small. As well, they have been given the name planet, which is even stranger. When people start to understand this theory, they're going to look at establishment's explanations as just being odd. 25. Chemistry is not important to explain the behavior of stellar events. I have here written, stars are giant chemistry experiments involving all naturally occurring chemical reactions. So much for that. Rocks, minerals, and life are not exotic structures to an astronomer or astrophysicist. To them, says here, cosmologists believe that the universe's exotic structures are comprised of theoretical entities, such as dark matter, quark stars, and other structures never observed. Rocks, minerals, and all of matter comprising life itself, the real physical matter of reality, and their thousands of combinations are unimportant and unexotic. It's because the mathematicians and cosmologists have gone into fantasy land. Rocks and minerals are related to geology only. Have you written, a star cools and dies, forming rocks and minerals in very late stages of its evolution. When someone picks up a rock, they are literally picking up a piece of an evolved star. This means geology is the study of a star in its last stages of evolution, the Earth itself. Electrochemistry does not exist inside of young and aging stars. Plasma is electrically charged matter, and stars are full of chemicals and chemical reactions. Young and aging stars are electrochemical in nature. So much for that assumption. 29. The rock cycle is a complete understanding of how the Earth's crust came to be absent anything to do with chemical reactions. Rocks and minerals are chemical compounds. Without explaining their chemistry of formation, reverse engineering them, the rock cycle is very incomplete. For those that don't know, the rock cycle is sedimentary rock, igneous rock, and metamorphic rock, without any explanation of the chemical compounds that were formed before they became rocks. So geology ignores all that for some strange reason. 30. Stars like the Sun have nuclear cores. Occam's razor destroys the concept of a nuclear core. A nuclear core would mean the Sun is actually two suns. A second sun inside the Sun is unnecessary. All the radiation the Sun produces can be directly observed on its surface where it is shining, though it is not wise to look at it directly, for it will damage your eyes. As well, since stars form iron-nickel cores in their interiors as they evolve, the nuclear cores just get in the way. Young stars have not had enough time to form anything resembling a core. The core forms as it cools, shrinks, and evolves. Remember, it's a collapsing nebular cloud. It's not powered by nuclear fusion. 31. Exothermic chemical reactions do not exist inside of evolved stars such as Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and all 1,934 exoplanets confirmed to exist in our stellar neighborhood. Here written, the direct evidence for exothermic chemical reactions taking place on evolved stars is that they are hot and emit more heat than they receive from the sun. There's chemistry happening in them, but no mention of chemical reactions, which is odd. All life came from outer space and could not have possibly formed on the Earth. Life is a byproduct of stellar evolution. As a star cools and dies, it creates life. The chemicals become more and more complex as they combine with each other. The evolution of life and the evolution of a star go hand in hand. That's a very big one, which I don't think they'll be able to understand at all because, well, they want to believe that somehow a meteor or something carries life here from outer space, not realizing the Earth is already in outer space. That would be another Occam's razor to destroy their meteor bringing life here argument. Earth has always orbited the Sun. That's another big assumption. This is probably not true, as evidenced by the extinction events which wiped out very large amounts of life on the Earth and fit nicely with extra impact events. The Earth was clearing a new path or orbit. A change in salinity of the oceans, changes in atmospheric conditions, extra volcanic eruptions caused by the Earth's crust compression as the orbit change was taking place, etc. Assuming things are this way and have been in this way forever is poor reasoning itself. It just makes them feel safe. And I'll go ahead and go on 34 for the next talk.